Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I am Jessica Barajas, manager of the Shared Learning Initiative at the Learning Policy Institute. And thank you for joining us. This is our 7th learning session in our community schools series, focused on creating racially just and relationship-centered community schools. Today's session is titled Partnering to Advance Expanded, Culturally Sustaining, and Enriched Learning Time. And this is a topic that is such an important equity opportunity, and we're just so excited to learn more about it together. So some background, our sessions are co-designed by the California Partnership Shared Learning Working Group with the Learning Policy Institute, and we match the local needs to the expertise of researchers, students, families, organizers, schools, and districts. Next, I want to invite Maritza Bermudez, community organizer with Orange County Congregation Community Organization, PICO California Education for Liberation, to introduce who the California Partnership is.
Thank you, Jessica. And hello, everyone. As Jessica mentioned and shared, my name is Maritza. I am a mother of 5, a parent leader in the Anaheim Elementary and Anaheim Union High School districts, and a community organizer with OCO. And I am so happy to be here this evening with all of you. Before I introduce the California Partnership, I want to share a bit about who OCO is. So we are a multi-faith, community-based social justice organization. We work and represent congregations and communities in the cities of Anaheim, Santana, La Habra, and Fullerton. OCO is also a member of PICO California Education for Liberation and an anchor organization of the California Partnership. The California Partnership is a statewide alliance of community organizing and advocacy groups advancing a shared vision of racially just, relationship-centered community schools that confront the historical legacy and generational impact of inequitable schooling in California and the country to birth a transformational education system built for us all. The partnership is led by Californians for Justice, Catalyst California, PICO California, and public advocates, with the support of Building Healthy Communities Monterey County, Community Coalition, and Inner City Struggle. Our growing network includes over 20 grassroots research and philanthropic partners. Many of them are reflected here. You can see on the slide. Our partnership includes organizations collaborating in 27 districts, 33 cities, and 14 counties across California. So we center equity and elevate the voices of students and families of color in partnership with educators, and we focus on long-term systemic change. To make this vision real, we are advancing equitable and full funding, schools of belonging and inclusion, student and family power, diverse, prepared, supported educators, and student-centered, culturally sustaining, deeper learning. Because of the hard work that so many of us have dedicated, California is making bold investments in the intentional and effective strategy so school works for all of us, especially Black, Indigenous, multilingual learners, and all of those who've historically been the furthest from educational opportunity. I wanted to make note that there is an available opportunity for the 4th and final round of community schools implementation grants. Okay, so to conclude, I did want to share a few thoughts about my personal experience with expanded learning in the Anaheim Elementary School District. So as a parent of 3 children in this district, I am deeply grateful for the Succeeds program and the profound impact it has had on my family. This program has been a lifeline for my husband and me, offering a safe and supportive space where we know our children are well cared for, even as late as 6 p.m. With unpredictable work schedules, this flexibility has been invaluable to us. Through the Succeeds programs, my children have had access to enriching extracurricular activities that would otherwise be out of our reach due to our busy schedules. From soccer, chess club, to speech and debate, art and Lego club, they've been able to explore their interests grow their skills, and develop their talents. Most recently, my children in the Korean dual immersion program have benefited from Korean tutoring, which has been a tremendous asset in supporting their academic journey. What stands out the most to me is the program's commitment to inclusivity. My 8-year-old son, who has autism, has been fully embraced in this program. The community schools leadership assistants and team have gone above and beyond to ensure his needs are met, finding the right classes and creating a supportive environment where he can thrive alongside his peers. The Succeeds program is more than just an after-school care. It's a safe, engaging, and enriching space that uplifts our children without adding financial strains on families. It empowers them to explore their interests, develop their talents, and build a sense of belonging. For my family, this program has been transformative, and I can't imagine navigating our daily lives without it. Thank you, everyone. I'll pass it back to Jessica.
Thank you, Maritza, for sharing about the partnership and also those beautiful, heartfelt words and the impact that expanded learning has had on you and your children. So to contextualize our panel discussions we will have later on in the program, we will now turn it to Tiffany Gipson, the Director of Equity and Quality at the California After-School Network. And Tiffany is going to provide an overview for us of expanded learning. Tiffany.
Thanks so much, Jessica. It feels like after Maritza, there's really nothing to say. What she said is what we hope that the after-school programs and expanded learning opportunities that our young people and our families really have access to are all about. So I'm going to start and put a little context for the conversation. One of the things that we believe about expanded learning in general, I moved the slides too quickly, you guys. Let's see, there we go. We believe that every child, youth, and the adults that live, love, and work with them deserve just and affirming spaces and opportunities that enrich, empower, enlighten, educate, and elevate them. We know learning happens in every context, and young people are assets in supporting their own learning and co-creating the solutions to the issues and challenges that they face. Expanded learning in all out-of-school time spaces can be cultivated by anchoring in some core beliefs and shared mindsets. We're rooted in love, and love is shown in our actions and our words. We're asset anchored and driven. We're aspirational in our mindsets, our words, and our actions. We are connected by our differences because that is what gives us strength and creates our collective. The appreciation of every culture, language, and lived experience is what we leverage to grow and nurture our collective spaces. We make decisions based on elevating the intrinsic gifts, talents, and wisdom of those closest to the problems we work collaboratively to solve. And lastly, we learn by doing, and we grow by reflecting on that learning. I try to start most of my conversations about what our work is with that pedagogy, because it lets you know not just the kind of structures of expanded learning, but truthfully, what's the heart and mind of that work. Now, if you had to think, if that's how we really feel about the work, what does it really mean? In California, expanded learning is actually a term that is in Ed Code. And what it really means is expanded learning is before, after school, summer, and intersession learning programs that focus on developing the academic, social, emotional, and physical needs and interests of pupils through hands-on, engaging learning experiences. It's the intent of the legislature that in these programs, they are to be pupil-centered, results-driven, and include community partners and complement, not replicate, what happens in the school day. I think that's really important to kind of anchor folks on, because a lot of times when people think of, oh, after school, it's supposed to be an extension of the day. No, it's an expansion of the day. It is really where young people go and their interests drive what they learn. And it's also really critical that their relationships form with parents and the community, because schools don't operate in a vacuum. They completely exist in the structure and in the places where they are. So if we aren't ever sensitive to the communities and bring those into the school, our schools will never be what they could be. So this slide that I'm showing you is just to give some context on how long expanded learning has been around and why it's such a critical component to any really high quality community school effort. Federal funding for expanded learning started back in the early 90s, and it's been around in California since then. California has had state level investment, however, since the early 2000s. And back then, our investment was right under $1 billion. We served about 1 million young people a year. And at that point, it was 3 times the rest of the investment for the entire country times 3. So that lets you know what the priority is in this state about expanded learning and out of school time opportunities. But it also lets you know that with an investment that big, we still were not able to serve every child every day. So once the pandemic hit and a larger investment was made, we're now at a total with state and federal funding of close to $5 billion a year ongoing. So for the families on here, what I want you to hear is expanded learning funding is ongoing. It's not finite, it's not supposed to stop, but we're going to have to show what relevance it has and what's the benefit, like how Maritza was saying, what it really does to support our children and our families. So if you think about all of that funding, and there are other slides in here that I'm going to not really speak to everybody, but I wanted them in the deck so you could have them to reference later. But I wanted you to see that there's multiple types of funding that happens. And in your school communities, depending on which one of those funding sources was activated, your schools may be serving anywhere up to like 100 to 200 young people a day just in their expanded learning programs. Now, why the connection between expanded learning and community schools? One of the things that you heard spoken earlier is that expanded learning complements the community school strategy and is always considered a critical pillar because expanded learning programs are anchored in creating spaces of belonging for young people. And one of the things that we say is that expanded learning has our roots in resiliency and positive youth development, which means all of our work really focuses on creating the situations and the culture and the community where young people are actually met where they are. So it doesn't mean like in our more traditional bell to bell schedule that young people are kind of forced to meet the education system where they are. In expanded learning, it's more that we're anchored in, well, where are they now? What are the interests that they have? What's the culture and the community they come from? And how do we build really caring relationships with young people so that it meets their needs? We create safe spaces. They feel loved and they feel belonging, where they're respected and they are honored just as they are with no exceptions to that. And that results in them being the young people that we all know that they can be. It produces positive prevention opportunities. It results in them being more successful in their school day because once young people feel seen and valued and heard, learning can always happen. So the couple of slides that I just went through really quickly really show what that means, and what we feel like expanded learning does really well is create these protective factors so that young people build the level of resiliency so that they are able to actually show up in their classrooms and be successful. And I'll slow down. So the last couple of slides for me that I just want to really elevate is in the work of expanded learning and how that works in relationship to like other work. There are standards that our programs all have to meet, and it's really about creating safe, supportive spaces, creating active learning opportunities for young people where they are actually building their skills towards mastery, where there's literal youth voice and leadership, where what children want to do and want to be actually drives what happens in their programs, and that we are modeling for them how to make healthy choices, behaviors, and decisions, and that there's equal access to the program for any young person that wants it. So if you think about that's what our programs are about, when the superintendent created this new Transforming Schools initiative, it really was the opportunity to show, well, what are the critical parts of how we should rethink our schools? And if you look, you notice that expanded learning is one of the clear pillars that aligns with the community schools work. This and what I wanted to show with this slide is these are different models of community schools from all around the country. And if you look, creating additional extended learning and opportunities and expanded and out of school time spaces is always a critical pillar in the work, because one of the things that we know about expanded learning programs is it's interest driven for young people, but there's already clear communication and relationships with parents, because parents come into schools every day to really support their young people. So having a really high quality expanded learning program in your school really makes the transition to a community school even easier, because it becomes part of the kind of corner store strategy. So one of the things that we want you to hold, and I've got about 45 seconds, y'all, is that in the pillars of a really critical community school, that there's integrated student supports, family and community engagement, collaborative leadership and practices, and extended learning time and opportunities. That directly aligns with what your expanded learning programs that are existing in your programs. And in some places, specifically like Oakland, they've been around for over a couple of decades. So holding that, all of those elements of those programs that you're going to hear some young people talk about their experiences in them, those are what we can hold up to saying how we want our school system to be different and to show up differently. Because right now, the system that we have, it's failing our kids. And it has been for a really long time. And what we're saying is, if we use these new funding streams and these new opportunities, we could actually think differently, and we could leverage funding like expanded learning to actually reimagine what learning looks like. Takeaways. Expanded learning has been around for decades and has national and state level supports, competencies, and standards. So it's not just, babysitting. It really is structured opportunities for young people to learn. Expanded learning should be looked at as an integral component of any community school structure. You should be leveraging the relationship structures and possibilities of those programs to support the larger community. And I think really critical, shared leadership is the result of intentional relationship building anchored in shared values and trust, which means the way that we hold our parents in our expanded learning programs, that is the way we have to hold them in the rest of our school day. So thanks you all, and I'm so excited for you to hear. We're leaving you with this. There's going to be an example that I leave in the slide deck about a school, a community school with a large indigenous population that is really showing how they're leveraging all of their funding. And I even gave examples to all the different funding streams that they're using to actually build out their programs. So thanks you all, and I'm excited for you to hear from the young people.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, for that rich, rich grounding. And we will look forward to now seeing it in action with our two panels and really trying to understand, right, the stories and the practices that will support and are supporting quality, culturally sustaining, expanded learning. So to get us started, I want to introduce our moderator for today, Katie Nunez Adler, the statewide coordinator for the California Partnership. Katie will introduce our first panel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Jessica. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm going to introduce y'all to our first panel representing the Anaheim Elementary School District Succeeds program that Maritza talked about earlier. So with us today, we have Assistant Superintendent Dr. Yadira Moreno, Grace Oliveira, who's a sixth grader in the mariachi program, among other after-school programs. Grace is very, very busy, y'all. Maria Gonzalez Lopez, who is Grace's mom, and she's both a parent leader and also an early childhood educator. So as a reminder for everyone, as questions come up for you throughout the panel, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. We're going to try to get as many of your questions answered as possible during our Q&A time after both panels. So with that, let's get started. Our first question is going to go to Dr. Yadira. So Dr. Yadira, could you provide us with an overview of Anaheim Elementary's expanded learning program and how you center equity?
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here and be able to share the beauty of expanded learning. As Tiffany mentioned, it really is such a unique opportunity that we are getting, and really a call to action of how to use our funds to make the best conditions for our students. Anaheim Elementary is the largest elementary school district in California, elementary. So we are a PK6 district serving a little over 14,000 students. These 14,000 students all have access to the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, which we named through serving our students the Anaheim Elementary Succeeds Program. Equity is a cornerstone of ELOP as we reimagined and discussed how can we grow an after-school program that we already had through ACES funding and braid, just like Tiffany was sharing, braid funding so that we could expand it and offer it to all our students. So with that, we had various parent meetings. So as a principal, every principal was charged with having a coffee chat and receiving parent feedback of what they would want to see in our after school programming. Unanimously, all parents wanted an academic component and access to culturally rich, engaging activities. So with that, just like community schools, Anaheim Elementary Succeeds created 4 pillars. So we needed something that we knew would have to ground our work and be able to let us know this is how we're going to move forward in vetting programming that's going to fit the needs and be responsive to our parents' voice. So we created students' voice and leadership, social emotional learning, academic support, and our STEAM branding education, which is basically equity and access, science, technology, engineering, and math, and our dual language component. So what you can see is what we did is ensured that all of anything that we decided to move forward with cultivating in an after school or before school space, because our program is offered from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Some of our schools do not start. The bell does not ring until 8:50. So we have an hour and 50 minutes of after school, of before school programming. We wanted to ensure that it would fit under these pillars. So that was how we gauged how we would move forward with the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, giving access and equity to all.
Thank you, Dr. Yadira, for that super helpful grounding. I really love hearing how deeply you're rooted in deep listening and partnership with families to really make Anaheim Succeeds responsive to the needs of students and families. That's fantastic. So now that we have some context around Anaheim's expanded learning programs more broadly, we're going to dive deeper into one of them, which is the mariachi program. And this question is for you, Grace. So how did you first get interested in mariachi, and how has it helped you connect to your culture?
Well, I am in the DLI program. So that means that my music teacher, she didn't really wanted to do band for the DLI program. Since we were speaking Spanish, she thought that it would be an amazing opportunity for the DLI program to do mariachi. So that's how my music teacher introduced us to mariachi. And I fell in love with it. Mariachi has helped me with my, well, it has helped me with a lot, believe me, with my communication skills, my listening skills as well. I've also really connected like connections with my classmates. So I think it really has helped me with a lot, and I really got really connected, and it really expanded my knowledge with my culture, because my mother is an immigrant and my father, he was born here in America. So it was really amazing to see part of my culture. And I was so amazed and wowed that there's so much beauty in the Mexican culture that I immediately fell in love with it.
Wow, Grace, that was so inspiring and super just incredibly exciting to hear that those connections that you've made. So we can't just hear you talk about mariachi though, Grace, and not hear you sing. So we're gonna play a little clip from your last solo at UC Irvine, so everyone can hear you. That was so fantastic. Thank you, Grace. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. And Maria, you must be such an incredibly proud mom. So now we really want to hear from you. What has your experience been as a parent, having your children be part of the various expanded learning programs in Anaheim?
Oh my goodness. I'm so grateful with Doctora Moreno and all that team, all that leadership that has created this learning environment for our children to connect with their culture and ethnicity, and in such a positive environment. I'm have nothing but positive experiences with this program. I had 3 children myself. One is in Girl Scouts, champions, baile folklorico. So my children, they're so in love with their Mexican heritage. Uh, they haven't been to Mexico and they would love to go and visit Mexico for the first time. So yes, it has been a game changer because I am a worker mom, and the hours that the after school program provides, it allows me to go to work with a peace of mind, knowing that my children are in a positive environment, in a safe environment where they're respected and they're being caring, and the teachers, the educators that surround them are providing a positive learning experience for them. They're part of the Mile Club. They go in at 7 in the morning. So they get to walk around and do exercise, and they get breakfast. And then after school, they get to play, do sports. So it's really a game change for me as a working mother.
Wow, that's so inspiring, and how it's like mind, body, spirit, culture, all of that connectivity, right? From sports to you have a lot of artists, creative children. So thank you so much for sharing. We're going to come back to you now, Yadira. And we'd love for you to share how the traditional school day and the after-school programming are integrated to support student success in Anaheim, and some of the ways that Tiffany was naming earlier when she was sharing.
I would love to. Well, definitely with expanded learning, just like Tiffany shared, it should not replicate the day. So what we wanted to do is ensure that what we're enhancing in the before or after school setting really aligns to support our students' success. So that really is the goal behind that. So we use the ELOP quality standards to guide our work. And what we do is we ensure that we try to get that buy-in from all our staff that we're moving forward to create a seamless 11-hour day for our students. So that means the conversations of how we get there are critical with our teachers, our administrators, our principals, our vice principals, everyone that is working in the school site, so they understand their value to make ELOP work. So for the music program, for example, we have an amazing service provider. Everyone that Maria was mentioning are the service providers that we contract with that fit our quality standards and our ELOP pillars. The 100-Mile Club, you know, the chess, the baile folklorico, those are all our providers. But with music, we partner with Mariachi Heritage Society, which is really Jose Hernandez's mariachi teachers. Now, to work under Jose Hernandez, he walks around our schools, evaluates his teachers, gives feedback. That is phenomenal. You know, as a first generation Mexican American, I grew up listening to Jose Hernandez in my house, and now being able to give that ability for him to provide feedback to our music teachers it's what I've always dreamed of. It's why I went into education, to create these opportunities for our students. So with that, our music teachers are able to work alongside the providers, and they get paid. They get stipend for their time after school to learn alongside and create that PD opportunity for our teachers. So our music teachers, just like Grace mentioned, can integrate it during the day, but are learning after school the skill set needed to bring mariachi to life during our school day. So some teachers have that capability, not all, but they all have the opportunity if they want to learn. And that is our way of integrating that ELOP funding into our school day and beyond. That allows us to also support our dual language instruction. We do have our dual language Spanish program at all 23 hours of our school sites. So our students have that cultural component along with baile folklorico to learn and tie it back in. We have Korean and Mandarin, which we're working to expand into the ELOP settings as well. So we're just looking for ways to use the funding to connect and provide opportunities for our students and for our staff.
That is really exciting because I'm really hearing about how capacity building is really being woven together, and then language and culture, and making those like connections in really explicit ways, both during the school day and in the after school program and extended learning. That's amazing. So now to you again, Grace. How has participating in the mariachi program helped build your confidence as a student and in other ways? I know you named some of those things, but we'd love to hear a little bit more.
So that's an amazing question. So what has helped me build confidence is that when I go perform, I want to show the audience that, like, I haven't done this before. That's what my music teacher said. But what she's actually trying to say is that we have to look confident, comfortable with singing our song and playing our instruments. We want to show our audience that we worked so hard and we didn't go on stage to look like noodles shaking and, I don't know, not doing it. That's why it helps us build confidence to perform around our community. And it also brings us confidence of who we are, our culture. I think that's what helped me the most, to embrace my culture, to embrace that I'm Mexican, to embrace that I'm also Mexican American, and to like acknowledge different kinds of Mexican parts. And to acknowledge and learn about it and really understand what the music is trying to say, and to like introduce us. Like when we sing mariachi music, I really connect to it. Like I understand what the mariachi song is saying. And to finally go deeper into the Mexican rich culture. So I think that is my key That is key of what has helped me embrace my culture. And also build up my confidence for public speaking as well.
Wow, that's so incredibly powerful, Grace. Like really hearing about that connection to your culture and your community and how that supports you to grow as a human being and develop your confidence in yourself within that context. Thank you so much for sharing. So Maria, in what ways have you seen the Anaheim Elementary School District include parents and families as part of the design of the expanded learning programs? I know we heard a little bit about that earlier from Yadira, but would love to hear from you as a mom.
Definitely. They include us as parents through surveys. They also have coffee chats. They ask for our opinions. What are our concerns? They always are willing to hear our ideas. What is that we want to see in the after school programs? What are the programs? What are the needs that we see in our children that they need to meet? And they also have meetings at a district school level. They have meetings where we could go and say our opinions and say, we would like to see this in the after school programs. We think there's a need in this area, and they always implement. They will come back and say, we're working on this area. We hear your parents, and they always, we will see them applying and putting into action what we're telling them to do through surveys. They always make coffee chats. Like Maritza was saying, there's a strong program called PLI. It's a Parent Leader Institute that through them, many parents give their feedback, what we want to see in the after school program. So they really have a connection between parents and school. So they make this strong partnership where parents and teachers and principals partner in putting ideas and hearing the feedback that parents are giving to them. So, and they really apply. They put into action what we're telling them to do. So I think that's creating transparency. And we as parents, we could see that they care what we're saying, and they care for our children, and they care to see our children develop the skills that will help them in the future. Like I want to share that Grace is in 6th grade and we're looking for a junior high. And one of her schools that she wants to go is an Orange County Arts in Santa Ana. And we were like, me as a parent, I wouldn't be able to provide her the mariachi classes, the speech and debate, baile folklorico, because I had 3 kids and they're expensive classes. So now that she had all of these experiences, now she's able to go and apply for this private school. So it's just to give put it in perspective how a tremendous impact the after school program is doing to our children.
Thank you so much, Maria. That's so powerful. And I guess on this one, I just want to say I've heard from a lot of parent leaders about Anaheim and just seeing how much what you're sharing is so resonant in terms of those real partnerships, and that the Parent Leadership Institute and the fact that the input is actually integrated, that you actually see it reflected and decisions that are being made by schools and districts in Anaheim. That's super inspiring. So we're coming to the last round of questions. So starting with you, Yadira. I know you previously touched upon integration and school between the school and after school extended day. What are other key structures that you have in place to make your expanded learning programs successful?
I think one of the exciting pieces of ELOP is being able to tell the story of the growth and opportunities that has happened and how it has transformed within the past 3 years of being able to utilize the funding differently. So Tiffany used the word reimagine, and that's really what we have done. We were using our ACES funding to really provide access to 2,000 kids. 18, we would narrow between 1,900 to 2,000 students. And that was what typical after school looked like in our after school programming. And when we were able to receive ELOP, our superintendent opened up an entire new department, the School Family and Community Engagement Department. By opening up this department, it allowed for parent engagement, community schools, and ELOP, the Expanded Learning Program, to all come together and be able to meet the needs really of our school district. And that's how we were able to transform from serving 2,000 kids after school to 10,500 students after school. That alone was the reimagining piece of how do we do this different as we're getting this intentional funding to provide access for students after school. The partnership with the service providers, let me tell you, it is intended with the legislation is written to say you need a partner with your service providers because you cannot have a school district cannot have this many employees. A partnership that I am very proud of was being intentional with like the TKK, our 4 and 5-year-olds. What I realized is the first year that we were hesitant to invite our TKers after school because we didn't know how to provide for them. So partnering up with our service provider KinderCare allowed us to have 120 employees to be able to meet the ratios of the 10-to-1 in after school. So through our TKK service provider, we have 120 employees just through Champions, which that alone blows my mind. And then as you could see in that slide that we were sharing, we have now braided our funding, used ACES and ELOP together. And finally, this is the first year we've hired our own ELOP staff. We call them our enrichment supervisors. So we now have transitioned from contracting out for ACES and starting to hire our AESD employees for after school. This is phenomenal because within a school building, we're able to train our staff, align with the school day, ensure they're using all our best practices, our PBIS matrix. All of it is really one seamless day for our students because our during the day is really talking to our after school and before school. And that continues to be our greatest accomplishment. So in 3 years, we were able to hire our own staff, create a program to meet the needs of 10,000 students completely free and for all our families. And that's something that we pride on because our families deserve it, our families need it, and most importantly, our families are taking advantage of it. So we are currently serving 75% of our students through the ELOP goal of when a family needs it. So they do not need to be with us every day. It could be 3 days a week, 2 days a week, whatever it is. And our kids stay with us and are thriving. So it's really been an honor to see the journey and be able to get this up and running to this capacity.
Wow, I'm seeing a lot of responses and a lot of people who are like, give me that phone number. I want to reach out and learn. Yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal to go from 2,000 to 10,000 in 3 years is incredible. And to be able to really leverage those resources in order to create that alignment. That's fantastic. Thank you. So Grace, this is your final question. What is a key ingredient or two that make the after-school program a place that you and other students want to be? Going back to what Tiffany was sharing around belonging and connection.
Yes, so what Miss Gipson said about belonging. The teachers for after school and our school teachers, they help the students feel belonging. They help the students guide through our educational path. So I think it's the teachers that are put to work on the programs. And mainly I think is my speech, for example, my speech and debate teacher, she was my teacher in 4th grade. So that kind of helped me feel less tension because I was able to recognize my environment. And sometimes it's okay to join a new environment. It's good for you. However, the teachers that the students may know will help them. The teachers help them feel belonged, help them grow their confidence. And what makes us special, the students, like talented and all that stuff, is because the teachers taught us how to be talented, taught us how to be special. I mean, not special, but taught us how to guide, like pushed us up to guide our path. And I think that's what is the key ingredient, the key main sauce into helping the students go into the programs, because the amount of encouragement, how much the environment is filled with encouragement, the students will go. If there's not enough encouragement, the students might not go because they'll feel awkward, lots of tension, like they don't feel belong, like they don't belong nowhere. But with the teacher's help, it guides them through. It feels less tense. So I think what Miss Gipson said, belonging is like the key ingredient. So yes, that's what I mean. And thank you for that question. And yeah.
Thank you, Grace. That was really powerful. Relationships matter, right? Really beautiful. Thank you so much. So last but definitely not least, Maria, this is our last question for you. Thinking about structures and staffing, what do you see as the key elements that support the Anaheim Succeeds program to be successful for all students?
Absolutely. It's the training that the after school program leadership provides to us. There's a lot of training happening to provide the services, to provide the environment that the students deserve. They provide trainings for us to help the students feel safe, to feel inclusive, to help the little ones feel welcome. My little one, he's 7 now. He was part of the Champions program. And oh my gosh, he loved the program. Right now he's in 1st grade, and just for the educators in the program, providing the accompaniment of welcoming and helping them, learn different skills. It's just amazing because my son, he will get mad at me. I was like, okay, Bobby, let's go home. He's like, Mom, I don't want to go home. I want to stay. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was it was a good challenge for me to take him home, because that shows me that as educators, the Champions program, we're providing a positive environment for my child. So it's just the training, communication, it's those little things that help us as educators to provide for our little ones, to help them develop different skills. So yes.
And that's super meaningful, especially I'm just thinking about the fact that you're both a parent leader and you're also a staff person, right? So you have that lens of being able to bring that reflection in as well in terms of that capacity building. Well, thanks to all of you for that incredibly rich discussion. Super inspiring. I want to give a special shout out to you, Grace. Welcome back, everyone. We're going to get started with our next panel featuring East Bay Asian Youth Center, which is also known as EBAYC, and their peer mentor program at Oakland High School. After this panel, we'll have a joint Q&A with all of our amazing panelists. So let me introduce our panel from Oakland. With us today, we have Rani Aff, the Managing Director at the East Bay Asian Youth Center, or EBAYC. Erin Bolware, a 12th grade student and peer mentor with EBAYC at Oakland High. And Fernanda Garay Archaga, a 12th grade student and peer mentor for newcomers who's also with EBAYC at Oakland High. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited that you're here. And I didn't mention this at the beginning, y'all, but I'm from Oakland. So Oakland High is near and dear to my heart. So I'm super excited, as well as EBAYC. So let's get started. Rani, we're going to start with you. And our first question is, could you provide us with some context for who EBAYC is and an overview of its extended learning pillar programs?
Yeah, so EBAYC is a grassroots nonprofit serving young people in Oakland for over 40 years. And we have one of the pillars of our work, it's through expanded learning in elementary, middle schools, and high schools in the Oakland area. And that one of the high schools that we've been long partners with of over 20 years is Oakland High School. And we started partnership with Oakland High School through expanded learning. And expanded learning program at Oakland High has evolved over this past 20 years. I remember we started the program just providing tutoring, hiring college students to tutor our high school students after school. And then it became really difficult to find mentors because college students transition every semester, their schedules change. And then the pandemic hit and the needs were different. And so we shifted from hiring college students to do mentorship to hiring high school students to provide peer-to-peer support. And there's two ways that we do that in our expanded learning program. One is through our youth educator employment program, which hires any Oakland High School students to support our expanded learning program at our elementary school sites. And the other youth employment program is peer mentorship, which we hire 11th and 12th grade students to provide peer support for students after school and also during school day. And it's possible during school day because all of our 11th to 12th grade students, they have a gap in their schedule. And so those periods that they're free, they're working those hours, but they hold our peer mentoring space after school. And the career pipeline that we're exposing them to and training them up for is the education pipeline as well as the mental health pipeline. I myself am a former EBAYC participant. I was a youth educator when I was in high school with EBAYC. And I've been with Oakland High since the inception of the program at Oakland High. And you're gonna hear more about our peer mentor program today from a few of our peer mentors here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rani. And I really heard you emphasizing that young people are hired into these programs, so that this is like a critical employment opportunity for young folks. So that's really exciting.
And I actually forgot to mention one thing. So the reason why we evolved is because that's what the young people wanted, right? And so pre-pandemic, we actually did a school-wide community survey asking young people, what is it that you need and want? And the student culture and climate team, they did a data dive and they looked at data for our 9th and 10th grade students and noticed that they were the ones receiving the most office referrals. They were the one being suspended the most. They were the one on our CHIC survey saying that they felt most disconnected. And so the students are saying, we need a peer mentor program. And so post-pandemic, EBAYC and Oakland High, we created a fund development plan and looked for funders to help support and bring this program on site. And then post-pandemic, we asked students again, what is it that they wanted, and they said we wanted youth employment. We need jobs and internships, especially because families, still haven't recovered from losing employment because of the pandemic. So them working helps supplement the cost of living, but also helps create hopefully savings for their future as well.
Yes, yeah, that's so powerful. Thank you for that additional context, Rennie, in terms of like how this came to be, and the involvement of young people in developing this program. So next, we're going to hear from Erin. The next question's for you. What drew you to becoming a peer mentor? And can you share some of your experiences as a mentor with all of us?
Yes, of course. So in coming into high school, it was right after the pandemic. I wasn't offered many resources my freshman year to help guide me through my path through high school. And as I went on, I was able to develop different things that would help me out throughout the years, and I was able to learn about the resources that are offered at Oakland High School. And as I got into my junior year, I was introduced to the peer mentoring program, where it's a program where we help underclassmen and we teach them the ways of like how to be in high school and how to guide themselves and how to carry themselves and teach them the different things that are required to finish high school. Um, and so not being given these resources, it made me want to give back to my community and made me want to teach the younger kids how to be a high schooler, what's offered at Oakland High School and how you can succeed in high school. And one experience that's stuck out to me through my 2 years of being a peer mentor is my students being able to open up to me and not just connect with me on an educational level, but also on a personal level. Um, I was talking to one of my mentees at the time, last year, I think it was. And, I pulled him out of class to do a check-in to see how he was doing. And he came to me and he was like, yeah, I'm not doing the best at school. I mean, I'm not doing the best at home. And, it surprised me. I was like, okay, what's going on? And then, he opened up about what was going on at home and, what his home life was like and how it was affecting his educational life. And that was really special to me because it showed me like they're comfortable enough to open up to me and talk to me about personal things. And it really just showed me how impactful this peer mentoring internship can be for not only me as a person, but for people that I'm mentoring or even people that I'm not mentoring and just helping out around the school.
Wow, thank you, Erin, so much. Just for the depth of connection and your vulnerability also, in sharing. Just really appreciate you. Fernanda, what drew you to become a peer mentor, especially for newcomers? Maybe if you could share a little bit about how your culture has come into that role.
Well, I remember first year, during my 11th grade, I was a mentor last year. I was a mentee, and I have this mentor. She was from Mexico, and she understood my language because we both speak Spanish. So I saw how her helped me a lot, like in my work, and also to improve my skills, so I can do better in my classes and like as a person in general. So I decided like I want to be like her and do the same thing, like help people that also need help. Like I was needing help in 11th grade when I didn't understand that much English, when I was like that opening for like improve my skills and do better in my classes. And seeing how I was growing because I was getting help from my mentor also pushed me to like want to be a mentor for other people who need it. And also because I feel like in your mentor, you can find a lot of diversity of cultures. And I found a lot of people who speak Spanish, and they were like having some troubles in their classes by not understanding, or by they didn't know how to ask for help to their teachers. So I'm mentoring two girls and one boy. The girls are from Mexico and Salvador, and the boy is from Guatemala. And I'm from Honduras, and we're all proud to be Latino. So I feel like we can all share our culture in there because we speak about like the same language. We speak like what have in common our cultures, that food. Sometimes we order food that we all love, and we just enjoy to be there. We all improving in English. We all improving in our skill, how to communicate with other people, or how to do better in school, with our grades, with our homework and everything. And I feel like being a mentor for newcomers is like made me feel proud that I'm helping people, because I have been in their size, and I know how difficult it can be when you don't have no one to help you. So I feel like that's the main reason who drew me to be a mentor.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful, Fernanda. And just really hearing from both of you that like the gaps and also the support that you took that and felt, you know, really committed to like supporting others. And that is so incredibly powerful. Thank you both for everything you're contributing in your community and to your peers. So back to you, Rani. What are some of the key structures that support the successful implementation of the Peer Mentor program to make this possible? It's incredible work.
Yeah, the first piece would be the identifying of our mentors. And so we were really intentional about ensuring that our mentor cohort was representative of the school's population. So we have a third African American, a third Latinx, and a third Asian. And then we also have students with the IEP, we have the newcomer population. And so just making sure there's as much diversity, or making sure that the diversity of our mentors mirror the diversity of the school as the student population as much as possible. And the second is our mentee recruit, our identifying mentees. And so there's various points of ways that students could be identified as mentees. One is that they could identify themselves. And so our mentors went into ninth and 10th grade classes to do presentations around the program, and then they would self-select to want to be a mentor or a mentee. And then our mentors, a fraction of our mentor also participates in a ninth grade summer bridge program. And so they spend 4 weeks together, and based off from the relationships that they built there, it will carry over into the next school year. And then we work with our coordination of services team when referrals come in for a concern about a student, and if it's appropriate enough, or if the student is open to seeing a mentor versus seeing a therapist, we make that connection. And then we work with our 9th and 10th grade teachers and administrators and school counselors, like they know this program exists, and they would also make the referrals for connection as well. And so identifying these students and working with the adults on campus is super crucial to this. In addition, we need to make sure that this program is we need to wrap around services for all our students, our mentors and our mentees. And if we truly want it to be a mentorship program, we also gotta model it as well. And so there is a few key staff members that we've brought on board to help oversee and support this program. One is we have a full-time peer mentor counselor, not a clinician, but she is the supervisor, the coach, the case manager for all of our 30 mentors. And then we also have a full-time clinician where a fraction of her work is dedicated to providing mental health workshops and professional development and therapy for our peer mentors and mentees. And then we got to have the braided funding stream that that was shared earlier. So we've have 4 different funding sources to help pay for our peer mentor program.
Wow, and I'm sure there's a lot more to dig into with all of that in terms of like the structures, the funding, the relationships, and really clearly like both supporting the mentees and the mentors. Thank you so much for all of that, Rani. So Erin, can you share, just building off of what Rani was just sharing, you know, about the capacity building, can you share a little about the type of capacity building and development that you've received to support you being a mentor to other students? What does that look like?
Yeah, so as Randy said, you know, there are people that their job is to hold workshops for us mentors. And, you know, there's a bunch of different type of workshops. There's mental health, there's harassment workshops that we go through at the beginning of the year. You know, there's multiple different workshops that we participate in order to learn how to be a mentor and things to do and what not to do. And every week we do a Wednesday workshop with Jay and Carla. And it's where we learn about, you know, how to be a mentor and how to process certain situations. There was at our mental health workshop, we were put into groups of around 5 people, and we were given random situations involving students, and we went up and presented on how we would handle the situation, if we would advise them to a therapist, or you know what we would do in that situation. And it just shows like how much preparation and how much time these people put into preparing us to be proper mentors and to help other students be proper students. Another thing that they do is whenever we're in trouble or whenever we're having mental health issues, they'll step out of their way, or if it looks like we're not okay, they'll, you know, bring us out of our learning environment, and they'll talk to us and have a one-on-one with us just to make sure that we're doing perfectly fine. You know, they might get food with us or something, or you know, just sit there and talk with us for a while, just to make sure that we're doing everything all right and that our out-at-home life is all right. Because, you know, although we're, you know, busy checking on our mentees all day, there aren't many people to look after us. And, you know, I'm glad that we have them to look after us and to help us out a lot.
Thanks, Sarah. That's super powerful. So you have those structures, both like the weekly workshop space with the other mentors and also that one-on-one time and those deep relationships, so that you're not just feeling like you're alone and supporting others, but you really have a community of support. Fernanda, can you speak about the ways that your mental health and well-being is supported in your role as a peer mentor as well?
Aaron already mentioned, we do some workshops where all be together, all the mentors, when we can get help, how to care about ourselves, like how to take care. And we also have Carla, our supervisor, who do check-ins one-on-one with us and make sure we're doing good. If we need support in something we don't work, or with any issues, she's always there supporting us, and making sure we're having the known help that we need, so we can also give help others. And I'm also have my therapies in the wellness center for an Oakland High. And all the help that I'm having in there is helping me to have a good mental health. And I can also like give my best when I'm being a mentor, and I can hear others how someone is hearing me. And yeah, just the fact that someone is that have that help in the wellness center, and that they're like just bringing all that help for us in there is make me feel so grateful, because sometimes we cannot pay like a therapist or things like that outside. And I'm grateful with that one center because they're providing all this help for us so we can be okay, because we're also humans and we also feel, so we also need to take care of ourselves.
That's right. And so important, right? To be aware of that and to know that you have that space, and also that we all need that kind of support. That was so well said, Fernanda. Thank you. So Rani, we're getting to the last round of questions for the panel. And this final one is going to focus on impact. So can you share an overview of the impact that the Youth Leadership Mental Health Pathway has had on students?
Yeah, so we have 30 mentors, and each mentor has up to 3 and sometimes 4 mentees, and so we could serve a little over 90 mentees. And the program itself, our outcomes, we want to be able to provide career development, exposure to our mentors. We want to meet the social emotional learning needs of both our mentors and our mentees. We want to address the disconnection that students feel with school and with each other. Post-pandemic, those connections were kind of hard to repair or reconnect. It's awkward being in the same space with mask on, and so it's really important to address that disconnection, because if they feel connected, then they feel more motivated to want to show up to school and to have the motivation to do things. So the connection is a key piece. And then making sure that all of our peer mentors graduate from high school. So our primary of two goals that we've been tracking the past few years is increased connection to school and to peers. And 90% of our peer mentors last year felt like being a part of this experience as a peer mentor has increased their connection to school and to each other. 92% of our mentees felt that their participation increased their connection to peers, and 80% felt like it increased their connection to school. And the past 2 years, all of our peer mentors who were seniors graduated from high school. And so based off of just those data points, like we've been meeting our goals. Definitely room for improvement, but meeting our goals.
Beautiful. 90% increased connection to school and to each other. Like, that's absolutely incredible. So these are the last questions for Erin and Fernanda. So starting with you, Erin, what are your career plans after you graduate, and how has your role as a peer mentor helped you prepare for them?
After high school is to go to USC to get my master's degree in business. And then after that, go to culinary school and hopefully become a chef. But peer mentoring has given me the opportunity to build my professional speaking and build my people skills. By allowing me to talk to new and different people, it's helped me open up and help me learn who I am as a person and who I am around other different people and different groups of people. It's helped me to pick up social cues and learn when people are having a good day, when to say certain things and when to not. I'm sorry, my chair is kind of squeaky. And it's helped me like get to the root of problems and really learn how to talk to people when they're not in the best mood, or even when they are in the best mood. It's helped me become a better leader. I'm a natural born leader. I've been a leader in nearly everything I've done. I'm the captain of our varsity football team. I'm a president of Black Student Union at our school. I love leading, and this has just given me the opportunity to lead more and develop that skill of leading. And building off leading, it's it's taught me how to take a step back when need be. You know, because a lot of people like to lead just head forward and they don't like to let other people talk. I like to lead by, you know, letting other people lead sometimes. I think that's a really important skill and it's really necessary in leadership. And it's taught me how to be a better person overall. You know, it's helped me build relationships with people I thought I would never talk to. People you know, it gave me the opportunity to access resources I never thought I'd be able to. And it's given me the time and space to build myself up and, you know, both academically and as a person. And the amazing people running the whole operation, they've made me feel like a person the whole time. They haven't shut me out. You know, if I need a ride somewhere, if I need help doing something, you know, they always help me out and they always give me opportunities such as amazing as this to speak out about my experiences and just speak on myself as a person.
Wow, just drop the mic. So powerful. Just so you know, Aaron, folks are like Aaron for president and for sure, right?
Yeah.
Love that, like letting other folks step forward and that their light shines as like a powerful part of your leadership and listening. Like really amazing. Thank you. So Fernanda, the same question for you. What are your career plans after you graduate, and how has your role as a peer mentor helped you to prepare?
Well, one of my goals is going out of the state or maybe just far out of Oakland to have a new experience in new places. And I applied for psychology because I want to become a therapist. And I feel like peer mental health helped me a lot in that way because that what therapists do is listen to others and try to help those person who are like they don't see solutions or they don't see their purpose in their life and everything. So I feel like being a therapist will make me feel better because I'm helping someone that maybe thinks that life doesn't have a purpose or like that they feel down, things like that. And during peer mentor, I can help my mentees to when they feel down, when they feel like they're tired with the school and everything. I feel I can practice how to help people to feel better with themselves and how important it is like to don't give up and keep doing your best, how to take care of yourself so you don't give up and things like that. I feel like peer mental health helped me a lot because I feel there's a lot of skills I can prove in there and make me feel more interested in being a therapist when I see my mentees putting in practice the solutions that I have given to them. So I feel and I hope to become a therapist to help all those people because how I say we're all humans and we all need someone to hear us how we feel and everything. And I feel like for me being a therapist is gonna be important and being in pure mental have helped me a lot because there's a lot of people who need help with mental health and how being receiving all the help I also want to give my help to others.
Wow, Fernanda. You're going to be, well, you already are an amazing mentor and therapist, like moving forward, like with the grounding that you have and where you come from is just incredibly beautiful. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you so much to all of you from EBAYC, from the Oakland High School panel for sharing about the powerful youth leadership and the career development and the connections and the contributions that you're all making to your community. It's inspiring to hear from you as students who are playing such a critical role in supporting other youth. So now we are going to bring up the Anaheim Elementary School District team back here to the table. Bring them on up for a joint Q&A. And we appreciate everyone who has been sharing questions that you've been submitting in the chat. And we're going to try to get to as many of them as possible. So I'm going to start with a first question. It was submitted by Nicole Knight, who's from the Oakland Unified School District. And the question is, what recommendations do you have for schools and districts to provide more culturally and linguistically affirming experiences? And we want to open it up to anyone who feels that they would, like to kick this one off. Wondering do you want me to repeat that question again? Yeah, okay, let me restate it. So the question is, what recommendations do you have for schools and districts to provide more culturally and linguistically affirming experiences?
I always say maybe have more people from the different cultures, because we are in California, and specifically in Oakland, there's a lot of diversity of cultures. And I feel like improving like the diversity of culture from different countries is gonna help people to feel that they belong to a place, because that what happened to me. I found a lot Latino people in Peer Mentor, and that made me feel that there was a place where I can belong and where I can speak my native language and everything. So I feel like if other schools start like improving their diversity, and making clubs with different people of cultures and everything, the students are gonna feel like that they belong to a place, because there's a lot of students who start coming to United States and they feel alone. And I feel that will help a lot of students to find a place where they can feel comfortable and that they belong to here.
Thank you so much, Fernanda. I'm wondering, Aaron, if you might be interested in sharing on this.
Yeah, I was about to unmute and share. So I used to go to a primarily white elementary school, and I never quite felt like I fit in anywhere, and I was most of the time excluded from a lot of activities due to the color of my skin. And coming into high school and seeing like how diverse a singular place can be, it really showed me like I do belong somewhere. I just have to be put in the right environment. And I feel like creating clubs could be a very impactful solution to this problem. Because as Fernanda said, a lot of people feel like they don't have a place. And Oakland High being as diverse as, just Oakland in general being as diverse as it is, there are a lot of people looking for a place to go and people to talk to that are like them. And creating clubs could really encourage them and let them know like they have somewhere, they have people who are like them, who are willing to open up to them and talk to them. And it really just shows like we can make a change as even as young as we are.
I see Grace. It looks like you're ready to answer this question as well. I think we might hear from everybody on the panel on this one. We won't be able to do that for every question, but did you want to add, Grace?
I mean, as a parent, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, me as a parent, I think creating that partnership between schools and parents, really creating that welcoming environment for parents to come to schools and give the feedbacks, but really listening to them and have like the school leadership really making the changes parents are asking. And I think like Aaron was saying, like making schools more inclusive, more welcoming to different ethnic groups. I was a newcomer myself too, like Maria was sharing, and I didn't have that. I didn't have a mentor, and I didn't have that that help that I wish I had. I had a struggle through my junior high years. I migrated here at 11 years old, so it was very hard. So having this for my children, having this inclusive environment where they could belong, where they learn about the culture, it's pretty amazing. So I think creating that partnership with parents and schools. Grace, you want to share something?
Please do.
Well, yeah, like how everybody was saying, how there's someone in their life that like just makes a connection, and how Fernanda was saying, that she saw her coach around her and that she felt welcome, inclusive, and like to reach out to the students on how they feel about the school. Like, I know that there are surveys that we're doing at my school, like to see have you felt inclusive, and I think that just to reach out to the students, do they feel comfortable in the school? Do they feel welcome? Do they feel belonged? And I just think that's like the main thing for me. Just reach out to the students and step into the students' shoes, step into their point of views, and just see what the students are experiencing around them.
Thank you, Grace. Again, that connection to deep listening. Did anyone else, Yadira, Rani, did you want to weigh in on this one? Yeah?
I did what everybody said. And I also think it's important to be able to bring young people and families on as a part of the design of whatever program it is that you're hoping to implement. Have them be the decision makers as to what is it that they need to feel inclusive. And this is beyond having them do a survey, but have them a part of your advisory group. Pay them for their time, if you're paying consultants to help design something, but they're not in those shoes of our young people and families, shift that money to the pockets and times of our youth and families.
Yes, yes. Reach on that. Thank you, Rennie. So we're going to move to another question that we received in advance from Jory McComas from Northern Humboldt Union High School District. And the question was asking about evidence-based high school tutoring and intervention programs. Would anyone like to share a little bit more on that topic? I'm wondering, Randy, do you want to kick it off, maybe get us started?
Can you ask that question one more time?
So, sharing a little bit more about evidence-based high school tutoring and intervention programs. So I think Jory was asking maybe about academics as well.
Yeah. If there was an evidence-based academic tutoring program that worked well, I think we would know about it by now. I don't know of any, but we tried a series of it at Oakland High School, addressing algebra, failure rates, literacy, or mainly algebra and literacy. And I think it's been hard. We even worked with algebra teachers to help identify students and supplemental practices to support them after school. But sometimes it's beyond academics, the reason why a young person is failing algebra, maybe it's because they've had this really difficult experience with math in general, or having a difficult experience in school in general. We have students in high school who's had a challenge in coming to school in general. And so if you want to build the interest if you want to help students academically, you got to be able to help them build their hope, and their confidence in knowing that they can do math. And I think once that motivation, that confidence is built, I think, there's tons of different tools we could tap into to support them academically. With our peer mentors, what we try to do when we build the pairings of our mentees and mentors, we base it off of one of the things we base it off is whether or not they were in the same ninth grade family. So if Aaron, if you were a cheetah in the ninth grade cheetah family, we want to pair them with the cheetah ninth grade cheetah student because Aaron will most likely have the same teachers as when he was a ninth grader. And so that lived experience in that classroom is more just about the academics, but about the teaching style and the expectation and how to navigate, that relationship, their experience in the classroom.
Thank you. That's really helpful just in terms of being really intentional when thinking about like creating the peer mentor pairings, right? And really thinking about folks being able to make those connections in a lot of different ways. I'm wondering on that question again, whether or not anyone else has thoughts about that around the high school tutoring and intervention. Even I'm not sure, Yadira, from a elementary perspective, whether you've been exposed to that at all, if you have anything you'd want to share.
On the intervention piece?
Yeah.
Well, kind of as Rennie was saying, it's really something that is needed, and there's not one precise formula. What we're doing is we have a tutoring company, and our focus is literacy, and that's what we do in after school. So our tutors do support our teaching instruction. Something also that we did super creatively in ELOP to mesh the academic piece is we added ELOP teachers on special assignment. So we have teachers through the contracted teachers union that work a different shift. Their hours are 10 to 5, so that we have credentialed teachers in after school setting supporting the academic for after school. So that is, again, another shift in funding, the braiding of the funds where we could use Title I because they support during the day and ELOP because they support the after school to allow a certificated teacher to be present in the after school setting.
That's really interesting. And I just want to check for understanding on that for everybody that's on this Zoom right now. So you're saying that you both do extended contract time, but you also have actual shifts where folks are working their regular shift in the after school program. Like both of those things are being leveraged. Okay.
Correct. Correct. In order to ensure that their day fits into the latter part of the day, we worked with the teachers union to create an MOU to have different start times for teachers.
Really helpful. Did anyone else want to add to this one? We have a bunch more questions, so we can move on. Okay, cool. So the next question comes from Feliciana Cruz. And the question is, how did your superintendent accept and support the expanded learning program? How did you go about making this big change at school? And Feliciana submitted this question in Spanish. So did somebody want to volunteer to respond to that one in terms of structures and how you did that work to get that support?
In Anaheim Elementary, it was driven by the superintendent completely. So I think with the accepting of the funds, when the ELOP funds were delivered to school districts, there was some apprehensiveness on using them because people did not really know what it was going to look like. So when our superintendent said, yeah, we're using this, we're going to move forward and create spaces for our students after school, he really took ownership of it. And so that was the first thing he did was create a department, an ELOP department, to really run and focus differently the space to be able to, I think, give it the honor it deserves because it's a lot of work. And I think all of us that work in after school, it is a lot of work. Really, the day starts late. So, and when you have for us, 23 service providers that come in. So typically by 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're getting 10 to 15 employees from all different agencies to start working with our Anaheim elementary staff. So there's a lot of coordination, a lot of scheduling, a lot of communication, and the purpose of having a special place for it is really to streamline it across the district, because we are such a big district. We have parents that have students at various schools. So if students are attending different schools, then creating a seamless program allows the parent to be a critical consumer of it. So the superintendent was critical in guiding, beginning, and starting the journey off, and really to collect that parent voice before ELOP existed, right? The driver was using our DAC-DLAC, our Parent Leadership Institute, our school site councils to tell us, what do you want ELOP to look like? And all the principals, site principals, were charged with this task to figure out how did we want to create the Anaheim Elementary program, and in order to be able to provide what we could for our students.
Thank you so much, Yadira. It's like really painting the picture is super helpful. Does anyone else have anything they'd want to share on this around like creating the will, right? The support across the district to move in these kinds of directions? Okay. I wanted to circle back, and I want to do a shout out for, I think, Angelica, who highlighted that Tiffany Gipson had put something in the chat. So I'm going to read it aloud to make sure that folks who are here and participating in Spanish and Arabic are able to hear this comment as well. So there are some online credit recovery programs that are showing some success, and but to Rani's point, learning starts with belonging. So if students have been disconnected from their math learning historically, they may not have the foundational knowledge to excel in an algebra class. So looking at how the original teaching happened and creating remedial support from a culturally responsive perspective can help, and is really critical and essential. Thank you, Tiffany, for adding that. So we have another question. Rani answered this question a bit already, and the students, Grace, Aaron, and Fernanda, have shared a little bit as well, but we wanted to like find out if any of you all would like to add your thoughts on this. So this is another question that came from Nicole Knight from Oakland Unified. And the question is, what strategies and approaches have you experienced that have been most empowering for you as students? I'm wondering, maybe, Aaron, do you want to kick us off with that?
You sure if I understand the question? Can you say it again? I'm sorry.
So in terms of strategies and approaches that you've experienced in terms of like, really, let's open it up just generally, right? But it's specifically thinking about expanded learning, have been most empowering for you as a student. If there's anything you want to add, you know, beyond what you've shared.
Yeah, I'd say the experiences that have, or I'm going to share about one of the main experiences is I was invited to share in front of a board, like about my life story and how peer mentoring has impacted me and my life. I feel like that was the most impactful because it gave me time to reflect on how much this internship has done for me and how much it means to me, and how much, like, you know, just being able to be myself in this environment has meant to me. I feel like that really helped me out, and you know, it helped me realize like these people are so amazing and they help so many people out, and you know, getting to listen to other people's experiences and how this internship has impacted their lives also, it just brought to light like this is really amazing and it's life-changing for many people, because one of my coworkers from, you know, last year, they shared about how this internship brought them out of a really dark place. And I was like, I didn't know that about that person. You couldn't tell from the outside because of, how they held themselves and how much like how good they looked just being a mentor. You wouldn't be able to tell that they went through all of that. Um, so yeah, I'd say that experience was the most impactful to me. And, as I said previously, just being able to get to talk to younger people and hear about their experiences and their life stories, and it gives me perspective to how everybody's life is different.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Fernanda, Grace, would either of you like to share?
For me, it was I feel impactful. It was I was a close person. I was shy. I didn't want to make connections with people because I was scared. Because I didn't speak a good English and everything, and I felt I didn't belong to those places. But with the time and peer mentor, I have the opportunity to meet my new friends that now I have, and they all try to speak Spanish with me, and they make me feel like I belong with them, and like they make a place where I can feel comfortable with them, and they will all the time pushing me to give my best, and that they also teach me how to pronounce that English and all those things, and I feel like how Aaron was saying, like the opportunity to be in a place where you can talk to other people and hear about the story where they came from and how hard it's gonna it have be like their life and all. And you can also share your experience in all that you're going through with those people. It's like you're being yourself and no one is judging you in that place. Like there's a free place where you can be yourself and no one is gonna judge who you are and everything, and they all accept you for who you are and they're not trying to change you. And when they make a change, they make it like for a good reason, like they make you be a better person, but they never want to change your personality. They always love you and accept for who you are, and I feel like that's a really powerful thing that I have found in that internship.
Thank you so much, Fernanda. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Grace, do you want to, you're going to get the last word, Grace?
Okay, well, I guess when I was joining the programs, not only did it help me expand my public speaking, but however, it expanded my connections and my impact on how my point of view of different people. Because first of all, I had lots of meetings where meeting our needs as students. And I got to tell teachers, like in the SLED leadership programs, got to tell my teachers, got to tell the leadership that how I felt. And then it created other connections with different types of people. So yes, it expanded my impact and my point of view. So I think that when I joined the programs, not only did it help me like expand my talent and learn more, however, it expanded the point of view, my point of view, my point of view of the people around me. That how Aaron and Fernanda was saying, that the opportunity to be in a place where like you're accepted, you feel comfortable with, and that having friends that they don't want to change your personality, they like who you are. And sometimes for me, it's hard to find those friends. So when I joined the programs, it helps me expand my communication, my connection with different people. and it just helps me feel that I belonged there, not separated from the world. Like I belong somewhere. So I think that's what is most impactful, the programs I am in. So thank you, and I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you so much to all of you for sharing your experiences, for sharing your wisdom, for creating a community of belonging with all of us tonight, just by who you are, you know, in the world, for the contributions you're making every single day to young people, to your peers, and also to all of us, to me as a mom. You know, I feel so supported. So just huge thanks also to Dr. Yazida and to Rani. I'm just like incredibly grateful, feel very blessed. Thank you to all of our panelists. And thanks to everyone who was here with us for submitting your really thoughtful questions. We really appreciate you. And I'm gonna pass it back to Jessica to close us out.
Yes, thank you so much, Katie. And again, to all of the speakers, I'm sure everyone is leaving with a huge smile of inspiration in their faces. And also thank you to our interpreters, to our tech and staff support. Some few announcements before we close. Our next learning session is going to take place in the spring, and the topic is also another exciting one. It's going to be integrated student, family, and staff supports. So be on the lookout for the next invitation. And then we're also going to be chatting right now the website where you can watch all of the past learning sessions in English, Spanish, and Arabic. And the recording for tonight's session will be available in the coming weeks, so we will share those out.